Alright, howdy folks, welcome back. So, there's been a lot going on. We had missing data since the beginning of March, and we just got it all uploaded and stuff, so it took me a while to pick through it, especially frame by frame, but tonight I'm going to bring you everything that I found so far, and we can kind of see why maybe they didn't want to upload this data quite, efficiently as they did, as they're supposed to. So, anyways, a lot of it focuses on this CME blast that we had here on March 10th. Here we are at March 10th of 2022. We got the loop rolling. And, hello, Madam Mystic. Welcome. So, here we are. We got this rolling. We're starting with the 10th because this was the big halo blast that's sending a CME our way that is due to hit tonight, early morning tomorrow. So starting any time now, and I think we've already seen some effects. We just had a few big earthquakes, so maybe the initial shock wave from this has hit us. And this is a long event. This was like a 12-hour event, so it's going to be a long duration, CME that hits us. So, anyways, here we are at the 10th, and I got the loop rolling here, and I just want you to take a peek at it here for a minute before I start pointing stuff out, and then we'll go back through the previous days of all the activity in there too. So, okay, that's about good right there. So, pull this down just a tad bit. Pick up this with a little bit. Alright, so there's two events. There's one coming off the left-hand side of the sun over here and one coming off the top here. And first we're going to focus on this event. Now it appears there's a round object right there, but it starts off lower. It comes out and loops up like this. There seems to be a bigger object back behind it, and as it snaps loose of the sun's magnetic grip, it snaps back into its spot, its orbit around this bigger object in the back. You can see the little core in the center, and I'll freeze frame it. We'll go frame by frame through that here in just a sec here. Okay, so first off, let's pause it right about there. Okay, here's our little object here in the center right here. You can see this one clearly. And it's starting out at a lower position. It comes out and then it snaps and goes up into position here, more around the equator of the bigger object back behind it. And when I speed it up, hopefully this camera will capture it and you'll see the actual snap up movement. So I'm going to put it back into motion, and then we're going to speed it up a little bit here. And now hopefully you can see this object comes out and boop, goes up a little bit. And it looks like the camera's picking up okay here, so yeah, okay. So yeah, this little object comes out, snaps into place. It looks like it's going into the orbit, snapping back into its orbit around this bigger object that's back behind it here. It looks like it's spinning. Yeah. The material is spinning around it as it comes out and moves up. All the plasma is rotating around it. So yeah, and then I'll slow it down a little bit. Now that you see what we're looking at, let's slow it down and watch it in slow motion as it comes out, pops up into place, and you see material going out past it faster than it's going out. And then let's pause it right here. Okay, maybe back up. Now let's go forward a little bit. Hello, Whitetail 7. Welcome, ladies. So I'm talking about this bigger, there seems to be something bigger back behind this. And this object is like a moon to this bigger one in the background. And as it passes by, the sun's magnetic field grabs a hold of this thing and pulls it down. It tugs it down until this thing passes by and the magnetic grip releases. Then it snaps up into place. So let's do the motion again. Okay, so here it comes, coming out of the side. You see it pop up into place and then move out. Let's go a little bit faster here. Find my mouse. All right, hopefully you guys can see that. Maybe tab it slower right there. Okay, so that was just the small event over here on the side of the 10th. This is our big explosion, and this actually happened just before the big explosion. This little object came out, snapped into place, and then moved out, and now we're going to go and focus on this bigger one up above now. So here I'm going to pause it. Boom, we're going to back it up a little bit. So let's see here if I can use my as close as I can get it there. So let's go one back. All right, so here you can see our objects emerging from behind the occulter, the instruments reacting to it, and then as it emerges, you can see this bow shock, the shock wave coming off here, and then here's our object. Now it stayed there for a second. It kind of stalled up. If we back up and then go forward again, you'll see it stayed, but the other material around it moved. Back it up, right there. So it stalled for a second, then it starts to move out. Here we see this nice round curvature, and then here's our object. It's right here, this center object. I'm going to have to pull this down here. Okay, and then blow it up. Now you guys can see it a lot better. So here's our object right here, the small one. It's definitely there. Planet X News does a good job with his filters, and if you want to see a clearer image of this object, go over to his channel and check him out. He does hard work too. Then you can see the bigger object back behind it here, and if you tilt your head to the right, you can see this flames leaking out from behind the culture. This is coming off the top of the sun. For the last couple of years, there's been a huge coronal hole at the top of the sun and at the bottom of the sun, and we don't see much activity coming off the top of the sun unless there's these objects moving over it and causing this effect. And let me go one more frame because it captures a little bit better. It's the thumbnail I used here, so bear with me for a second here. I'm trying some different technology. My old computer got too full and couldn't handle opening a page. So, all right, now in this image, this is just the next frame after the one we just looked at. Let me bring it down here a little bit. All right, yeah, tilt your head to the right, and you can see this material coming off and flowing over and around this bigger object in the background. There's another streak back in here too. Now this material should be going out and going this way. It comes out, bends, and goes around this object, painting what's here. This, you wouldn't be able to see this unless this material was draping over the object and painting it like an invisible table, and you throw a tablecloth over it. So there's that. Now we're going to back out from this, and we're going to, so there were two events on the 10th. Let's get a little bit better right here. Put it back into motion. So there were two events there on the 10th. This object coming out and then another object coming off the top, okay? So that was what caused that huge halo event, the CME that's coming our way, due to hit tonight. Now, so since there was a backlog of data, I'm going to go backwards in time here, and we're going to go look at this last week's worth of data that finally got downloaded. So bear with me as we start to go back through these days. Now, this was the 10th. There's not much since then. I'll show you the 13th today, a little bit later. So, but for right now, we're going to go backwards. So, starting from the 10th, then on the 9th, there was this event. And we'll let the loop play real quick there. So this is March 9th of 2022. Let me speed this up a little bit. You can see our event over here. You can see we have a round little object right there. And I'm going to go a little faster, and we'll even zoom in a little closer for you. 10 TV, you made it. Good job. All right, so we're going to zoom in on this part right here for a minute. I just want you to watch. You can clearly see there's a little round object right there, and it has stuff spiraling around it too. So we'll let you watch that in motion for a second there. Okay, how's this showing up on your guys' screen? Are you guys able to see this stuff now? I'm using a different way of doing my stream here, so just hoping it's coming through. All right, back to where we are. So now we're gonna pause this for a second, and I'm gonna zoom in on that object. Let's go. So here it comes. It's coming out from behind the sun, or from behind the occulter. You can see the instrument reacting to it there. This little object right here, let's see if we can get a good image of it, and then I'll zoom in on it for you. Oh, there's a good one. Alright, so right there, here's our little object right here, and you can see stuff is spiraling around like this. There's white stuff coming around this way, and then you see a black streak going around that way. Almost looks like a yin-yang or a Pisces symbol or something right there. But it's material that's swirling around a little object right there as it pulls away from the sun. Okay, and then that was the day before on the 9th. So back out of this again. Okay. Put that back into motion again, so you guys can see. And then we'll zoom in a little bit bigger there so you guys can watch it one more time. You can even see it on the other side of this line right there as it moves out. Yeah, it looks like you guys can see it pretty well. Okay, so back out of this now. So that was the 9th. Now we'll go, there wasn't much on the 8th, but here we go to the 7th. And we'll let this loop play for a minute. And let you see if you can spot it before I start pointing it out. Alright, so anyways, right here is another one of these objects moving out, and you can see it leave a wake, a V-shaped bow-shaped wake coming off of it as it moves out right there. You can see these arms reaching back to the sun. And then we'll try to adjust the tone there a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. Alright, and just to point this out a little bit more, I'm going to pause on it right about there. Let's go a few frames before, right there. Okay, so Here's our object right here. You can see the instrument reacting to it. It has its magnetic field or something around it. Then you can see these wings, these streaks reaching back. These are like plasma wings that are stretching back as this is pulling material off the sun. Let's maybe just a little bit. Okay. We got some wavy lines we captured. All right, so here again we can see this object. This is almost every other day. The first one I showed you was 2 of them on the 10th, another one on the 9th. This is the 7th, okay? And then we're gonna back out of this. Okay, so that was the 7th. Now let's go back another 2 days to the 5th. There wasn't much on the 6th, but this one is really weird. This is one of my favorites. I've never seen anything like this one before. We're watching this right here. Now I want you to watch this flow as it comes out, stops, goes back in, and just does what it does there. Okay, you see how it comes out, splashes, comes back, and then comes out again. It's almost as if there's an object sitting right here, and this stuff comes out and splashes over it. Isn't that odd? I've never seen a CME do this before. And it's because this object, there's something there. It's one of these is causing this solar flare and causing it to like recede and then flow back in and out. Let's that one maybe we'll slow it down here a little bit because I want you to see this effect. Well, maybe it shows it better when we go faster here. Right, one more time slow here. Yeah, it seems to work when we go a little bit faster, so bear with me here for a second. Speed it up a little bit. Now let's see if this camera can capture this. Yeah, that's just the oddest looking CME. It's like I said, it's as if there's an object that comes out and then stops. Huh. Let me just slow it down one more click here. Yeah, that is just the weirdest CME. And that was, just 2 days before the 7th. We're on the 5th right here. So it's like every other day there's some kind of activity, one of these objects coming by the sun and doing its thing, either doing this or ripping material off. We got 2 at a time coming out with a smaller one snapping back into the orbit of a bigger one. All kinds of crazy activity, and that's not all. I mean, we're at the 5th, and we're going to go all the way to March 1st. So, you seen that one? That one was just weird. When I saw that, I was like, whoa, that one's definitely something there. You just can't make out the object, but you can tell by the flow around it. That flow definitely gives it away. And just watch it a couple more times. Boom. Yeah, that's the weirdest one I've seen here. It's a little bit better. Okay, so that was the 5th. Now going back the day before that, here we are at March 4th of 2022. The loop's playing here, and I think you could see what happened on that one. Now down here, right, there's a round object right there, and you can see its tail streaking back too. Boom, right about there. Previous, go back a little bit. So, right here, here's our round object. Here, I'm going to zoom in on this because I'm not doing it justice. Okay, you can make out. Here's an object, nice round object right here. Here's the wake coming off of it, coming back, streaking back on both sides like this. Of course, here's our instrument reacting to the CME that it just caused by ripping material off the sun. Okay, so that was 2 days in a row. Right there, that was, I just showed you the fifth. This is the fourth now, and we caught another object. So this isn't just one singular planet X. This is multiple objects, different sizes, different configurations, and each time they pass, they do something different in a CME. I've never seen two that were quite the same. So we're seeing all kinds of different effects that these things do when they pass by the sun, and you can see this one clearly right there. So now we back out of that and we go to the second. So here we are 3 days in a row, and I'll let that loop play for you guys for a second here. And I think you can probably see it. Yeah, there's lots of stellar cores. There are all kinds of different objects. Some of these even look like they have UFOs that are chasing them. So, all right, I'm going to pause for a second here on this one, and then we'll go through it. So we'll pause right about here. All right. So here you can see we have a round object right here. This appears to be two of them because it looks like we have one right there. This next image, let's blow it up for you guys. All right, you can clearly see one right here, and there's another one up here. Looks like there might be a couple little smaller ones. I don't know. This might be a cluster of these little objects. Let's tilt it down. There we go. Now you guys can see a lot better. Yeah, there's one right here. Looks like one right here. Another one back behind it, and one up here. Maybe a smaller one. Looks like these are all kind of connected in the shape as like a Z. Hopefully the camera's picking it up. It looks like it is, so I don't hear and see any complaints. So I take it you guys are seeing what I'm pointing out here, because this is what it looks like. I mean, I'm just showing you their images and sound in them. Then we're going to go just a couple more frames here. Let's blow this one up too, because I want you to be able to see clearly. It is right there. Perfect round sphere right there. Hopefully this camera's capturing it. Down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, now I can kind of tilt the screen a little bit better for the shading and the brightness on these. Came a little clearer. Anyway, so yeah, now that looks like a zigzag pattern. If you look, let's see. Well, you can still make out the top of this one here. You can still make out the top of another one there. This one up here. So they're still there in this next couple frames. All right, now let's back this out a little bit. Then another event starts to happen up here. And let's zoom in on this. I think maybe you guys can see this little round sphere right there. Looks like there might be a secondary smaller one over here or something. Yeah, then as we back out here, this is still on the second. So this is two objects here on the second. And we'll go just a couple more frames. That one dissipates and goes right through the corona. Goes on out. And then here comes this one over here. This is, let's see. I think right there's the one. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to zoom. Okay, I think you can see it now. This round object right here is causing another one over here. So this is three different events just on the second. This is a singular object. The other one looked like it was possibly two. And the first Z looking type one looked like it could have been four or five of these objects. So they're hitting hard and heavy. I mean, they're coming multiple at a time, multiple in a day, multiple in a week. This is our third Earth-facing CME in what about the time frame of a month now. Since the first Earth-facing CME, it's been about a month now, and we're having another one hit us again. So if, you know, we weren't getting any for a long time, and now we're getting three Earth-facing CMEs per month. There's definitely an uptick in activity. So that's what I'm trying to show you guys. And excuse me, it took a little while to go through all this data. It was like a whole week and a half's worth of data to find all this stuff. So that's what took me a little bit longer to get this information out to you than some of the other channels. But they're doing a good job too. They're helping bring awareness of these objects around here. You know, don't be afraid to go to somebody else's channel to get better images than I can produce. I'm just, you know, just a guy here with old equipment trying to show you what the Lord has shown me, and kind of help you guys understand it and deal with it as we all go through this together. So yeah, there's another one right there. Okay. And I think that was it for the second. Let's go frame by frame a little bit more. Here you can see it moving out. It's still right there, nice and round. All right. It appears there might be a secondary right here. Not very clear, but what a day the second was. I mean, let's just play this again. I had it again. So it starts off, we got that one, and that one. So that's, whew, it's getting a little unnerving now, seeing this activity and the uptick in it and everything. It's a little hard to bring this news to you. I don't like being the bearer of bad news. I've always been a happy-go-lucky kind of telling jokes and stuff, but no telling jokes right now. This is serious, and it's getting hard to laugh and smile. So, but I'm not going to let that get me down. I'm going to continue bringing this stuff to you. So here we go, and the first. This is March 1st. This was the first of the data that had been cut off. So the last data we had was from February, and now we're picking up where we left off here with March 1st. So in that week and a half where we had the missing data was all those events that I just showed you from the begin, or from the recent going backwards. So, and here we go again. You can clearly see it here. I mean, these things are getting so obvious that it's not hard to spot anymore. You know, I think you guys have learned some of the techniques that I use to, you know, spot these things, and now you're able to spot them too before I can even point them out. And that's the way it should be. You know, you should believe, you know, what you see with your eyes, and then, you know, evaluate it in your head. So anyways, we're going to pause this right about there. And we'll even zoom in here so we get a nice good shot of it. Okay, our object's right here, this round little object. See how it's making a big buckle in this red instrumentation here? The blue one is still there. It's very faint, but it's still there, and it's a nice round bow shock. But this object has caused a dent in this bow shock, and it's showing you reaching back. It's reaching back to this object because of its magnetic field. This object has a very strong magnetic field, and it causes this instrument to just have a huge bite in it. Okay? And then you can see this material streaking around the edges, the wake of it coming back, this classic teardrop shape as our objects right here. And it looks it's kind of weird, but let's see if we can even get closer. Now, right here, this almost looks like a little singular one along with this main one. It just appears to be a little round spheroid type shape there. So let's back out of this. Go a couple more frames for you here. Next. You know, I think maybe they got all these distractions going on to keep you from being aware of what's going on your sun. So this image right here, the way the instrument cuts back, has this nice big gap, and the gap is actually curved. I mean, look at that. It's totally painting. There we go. Now you guys can see a little bit better. I'm still getting used to my new toy here. It's not new, it's just new to me. So a round spheroid object right here, and look at this. Look how that instrumentation, it came all the way back, buckled back like this, and then made a curve. I mean, it just screams that there's a three-dimensional spheroid object right there. I've never seen the instrument kind of react so I don't know, defined like that kind of. All right, so we have been not only, oh, our Boyd, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. Yeah, we have not only been under attack by our government and the war in Ukraine, but this is going on around our sun, and it's picking up in intensity, you guys. These objects are 2 and 3 at a time, 2 or 3 at a day, every other day. I mean, it used to be, it was, you know, a certain time of the year, and that changed, and there were only, you know, certain months or whatever. Now that's changed, and we're having activity all the time. This grand solar minimum was supposed to last a lot longer. In fact, it never even really took place, because right when it started, we had 3 massive X flares that came off the sun. And those were significant. Those were a sign. There was a sign from God captured in those solar flares, and I'll bring that to you too. So here we were, all the way back to the first. So if I go up above here real quick, I'm just going to check these dates. So starting March 1st, we had this one. Then March 2nd, we had 3 of them. March 3rd, we had another one. March 5th, we had that weird looking one. March 7th, there was a couple more. March 9th, there was another one. And then on March 10th was that first one. That's the thumbnail with, here, we'll even go back to it, because this is a real beautiful image. We can get it paused here at the right frame and get it right. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just try to get this image as big and as close as I can for you guys. All right. So turn your head to the right about 45 degrees, and you can make out the curvature of this bigger thing back behind it right here. Okay? And look at these flames. These are literally flames, huge flames, jumping off the top of the sun. there is no corona at the top of the sun. There hasn't been for like the last 5, 6 years. We've had these huge coronal holes at the top and bottom of the sun. But now, when this object comes by, look at these things reach up to it. They're just literally licking like flames licking a log or whatever. They're just draping around this round object right here. And like I said, go over to Scott at Planet X News. He took this same frame right here and cleaned it up, and you can see it a lot better. But when you got your head tilted to the side, look how this ribbon of plasma has come off, changed direction, and is going over in front of this bigger object in the background. Here's a second little flame coming up like that. That is just, it looks like a piece of art or something. It looks like a, I don't know, it just otherworldly or something, which it is. It's otherworldly for sure. But what a perfect arc right here we have in this object. I believe this is an object back behind it and not just the magnetic field of this smaller one, because I'm going to go backward through this just a few frames, and I want you guys to see just a little bit. So bring it down as close as I can for you. I'm going to back it up a little bit. Okay. So this is a couple frames before. This black arc right here is our object. Here's its magnetic field right here. It's bigger. So this big bubble, this magnetic bubble right here, I believe, it sure looks like, is the magnetic field for this object right here. Okay? And let me see if I can go a couple of frames. Boom, it's right there. See? Here's the object. Here's its magnetic field, I think. Because this smaller one is just, it doesn't match up with this being the magnetic field for the smaller one. Let me go one more frame. Okay, boom. Now that's one frame before the good looking painted one. But if you tilt your head to the right, you can see that there is still, here's our round object right here. It still has flames coming off of it, licking back. So tilt your head to the right. You know our object's right in here. You can't see it cookie cutter, but it's right there. And these flames are coming off the surface of that thing and reaching back. And they look like they're reaching back to this bigger object back behind it. And it's a plasma exchange, and I've showed you that several times in other captures that we've had. So there's another, it's a little blurry, but I wish I had the filters and stuff to clean this up a lot better, but still, just by the plasma's reaction and stuff, it paints this object for us, so we don't necessarily need filters too much anymore. These things are getting pretty blatant. And one more frame, whoops. One more frame ahead, right there. That's the image where you can see it a lot clearer right here. Here's this plasma still coming up, arcing and bending, and that's just a huge ribbon of plasma. Reaches way out here. And this one reaches way up here. And you can see this two planet system right here with a bigger one back behind it, coming over the top of the sun. When you put it into motion, it goes so fast that you can't really make it out too well, and that's why we have to go frame by frame. All right, now this one. But you can see how big of a blast it caused. This was a full halo, almost a full halo, probably about 75% halo or whatever from around the sun. And that's the one that's due to hit us tonight. It was produced by this object right there. And I'll go back and I'll pause on it here again. Because it's just such a, it's one of those frames where it captured it just right. Just right, so you can see it right there. So, pretty crazy, huh? You thought the stuff going on here was crazy. Well, we got crazy stuff going on in the heavens too. And you know, when all this started happening to me, God told me, look for signs in the sun. And it was weird because I had just started studying space weather about a year before, so I was quite, familiar with these instruments and stuff. And then all of a sudden, this stuff started happening, and I was showing something. So now that's why I bring this stuff to you. So quite a week it's been, and we left off of the 10th. I'm going to go up to today. Here's the 13th. Now there's still some activity, but nothing too major. There looks like a little object right here that passed by. Okay. But still, little things here, stuff here, stuff here, stuff there. The sun's very active right now. It's been snap, crackle, and popping for a while now. So that was today's. This is up to the very moment right now. And the only day we really didn't cover is the 12th. So we'll come back and we'll go to the 12th real quick. And it had an event in it too. I forgot. Yeah, almost passed that one up. Let this load up real quick and then we'll get right into it here. Might as well look at it while it's loading. Yeah, this was a long duration one. It's almost as if there's the object's right here and it's stationary and the stuff is like flowing over it or something. Once it finished loading here. Come on, turkey, finish loading. We'll put it into motion and you'll see that it's really hard to make out. Ooh, there looked like something right there. Yeah, there's some kind of object hidden in there. We can't really define it. It's not too defined or whatever. But look how everything slows down when this event starts to happen. And this object or whatever it is has just caused everything to go slow motion and downshift. Did you see that change in speed? So we'll speed it up and it'll really exaggerate the effect. So go down here. Just bear with me for a second here. Where's my mouse? Go. All right, so watch the regular flow. It's going like that, and then it slows way down for that. And that's not a change in speed. There aren't any missing frames. It actually, that CME, like held up. And you can see the material flowing out over something right there. It looks like a football shaped type object or what? Hang on, you guys. I just saw something here. Oh, what? All right. This appears to be our object right here. And it's, I don't know what kind of shape. This might be multiple objects in some kind of weird formation. But there's this black U-shaped right here. It almost looks like it goes around to make a oval or something right there. But when I put it into motion, watch this shape and stuff flow around it. Like I said, sometimes these things aren't round. They look like ships. So I'm going to put this back into motion. Whoops. And we're just going to, yeah, look at that. Whoopsie. Come back down here. Wait, it's better for you guys right there. Yeah, it looks like some kind of football shaped thing and there's material going over it. Wow. Let's see if that works. Yeah, there we go. Oval shapes, or you remember a Muamua that was almost like a long, slender bar or something like that? It almost looks like it's not a perfect cylinder, but it looks like an elongated football. If you tilt your head to the right, it looks like it could be like a ship that's coming in bottom first or roof first or something. It almost looks like it's a ship. If you turn your head 90 degrees to the right, it turns from an oval into a UFO type shape. Yeah, I'm going to freeze frame it right here. Hang on, you guys. So we'll pull back real quick here. Whoops. Ooh, right there. It's it's this thing right here. Right here. This object. If you tilt your head to the right, I guess it could be like a almost like a UFO shaped ship or whatever. Let me put that back into motion again, and we're going to zoom back in on that again. Right, here we go. Now you guys can see better. Yeah, that flow really kind of defines the shape of it as it goes over it. It's almost like a rock underwater, and water's flowing over it, giving it a little eddies and flow asymmetry. Hmm. So here I was thinking there wasn't much in that one, but lo and behold, something there, dude. That doesn't look normal. I'm gonna just that one's pretty interesting. Slow it down a little bit. Wow. Yeah, there's something there, some kind of object, because that flow is what's giving it away. It's like going and draping around some kind of object there, painting the sides, the corners, the shape of it. I'd like to see Scott zoom in on that object and see what it really is. Maybe one of these days, if I hit the lotto, we'll get some filters and get some sponsorship or something and get some real equipment that I don't have to do camera to screen. I mean, I'm so old school. Wow. Yeah, you can just see that stuff flowing over that object. It even paints the bottom side or the left hand side of it for a second there. Wow. So, basically every other day, multiple objects, multiple events, just going crazy on the sun. So, sorry it took me so long to get this to you, and I'm sure you had the lowdown from a couple other channels that may have beat me to it, but I have to go through this stuff thoroughly because there's so much going on that, you know, every frame has to be, examined carefully because we're missing, vital information if you miss one frame. So I got to be tedious about it and go through all this information and decipher it and try to bring it to you guys in a form that you guys can understand and I can present it better now. I was able to get this little laptop so I can get more than one page going at a time. And I didn't have to upload each one of these for every time we wanted to change a date. So that helped out. So yeah, let's just revise here. The 12th is right here. The 10th was that huge one. There's another event on the 9th with one. The 7th had like three. The 5th was the crazy weird looking one. The 4th 4th, the 3rd, the 1st. No, the 2nd too. We had one on the 2nd. Yeah. So yeah, that's just crazy. You know, this activity's picking up, and I know it's kind of hard to grasp the concept, but I believe that some of these objects are spiritual in nature, and that's why they just look odd and they don't make sense to us because they're spiritual in nature. I mean, I've captured some faces on these objects and just faces sitting out here just randomly. So, capturing faces in the clouds and faces everywhere. So, you know, something's going down, and it's clear as bell what it is. You know, we're getting to the end here, folks, and it's important that you understand, you know, who Jesus Christ was and what he did and his sacrifice. I mean, it's amazing what he did, and that's what this whole thing's about. You know, these are all the signs. The Bible is a script to the movie, scripture script. So we're just fulfilling a script that's already been written, and these are some of the signs, some of the indicators that were promised, and it can be upsetting to some when you see them, but if you know that they were promised and then you start seeing them, well, that means the rest of the promise must be true too. So we're supposed to rejoice and not be too overburdened with this knowledge, even though I let it get to me sometimes too. I mean, it's just too much sometimes, and I say a little prayer. I don't know how many of you guys pray, but a little God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Yeah, think about that one for a minute. Accept the things you cannot change, and then pretty soon it's not so bad. And that's another reason why I'm here too. I always kind of try to show you a little update on the sun, and then we like to leave off with probably the most important event that I've captured. And to me, it's like the most important information in the last 2,000 years. And I'm going to play it here in just a second. Once you get past this stupid little ad here. All right, here we go. And for some of you guys that are my main audience, you've seen this before. And, you know, I replay this because it's so important. I wish you guys would believe me and understand that this is a real event that I captured here. All of this stuff that I've captured is authentic. It's all real. I don't know how to do Photoshop or anything like that. And if you turn your head to the right, this is Jesus in the cloud. Here's his face right here, 2 eyes, nose, mouth, and beard down here. Here's his hair flowing back, and a crown hovering above him. You know what? Let's try something like that, maybe. That one a little darker for you guys, right? There, maybe you can see a little bit better now. Can you guys see that a little bit better? This event happened on Easter. I cannot insinuate how important that is. This isn't just a common little gathering of clouds. This is a spiritual event that took place on a spiritual holiday in the sky right over my head. And this event lasted like an hour. It wasn't like just 5 minutes. In this video I show you, I took like 200 pictures of this event, and it ended up changing into another different face. And let me find the part in the video right here where I explain that a little bit, just so you guys can kind of grasp what I'm talking about. Any new viewers or somebody who hasn't seen this yet or is going to watch it on an archive, this might be new for them, so just bear with me here if it'll play. Yeah, we got some wavy lines going on there. Alright, you can give it some sound here. Oops. Okay, so starting here, we're going to go forward a little bit here through a lot of these images, all the way to right about here, where you can see that this face has changed now. Now we're seeing a more round, like lion type face with a nose right here. Here's an eye coming out here, an eye going that way. Here's its mouth slit, the chin going down here. So this round face right here with a crown still above it. Now I'm going to go through and show you the flip book. Come on, computer, bear with me here, folks. This is where it changes from Jesus to this lion face. Okay, now we're here at this image right here. This is a flip book of about maybe 15 or 20 of those pictures, and it's the transition between Jesus's face and the lion face. Now this happened in the clouds, and it was so big and in your face you couldn't see it. It wasn't until I took these images and zoomed out and compressed them. You didn't zoom in. They're too big in your face. You have to zoom out to see these. And these images that you're looking at have all been compressed, each frame, and then put into a flip book. And you can clearly see Jesus' face here with his crown hovering over his head, turning into that weird little lion face or whatever right there. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that. That is just earth-shattering information there. It was promised in the Bible you would see him coming in the clouds with great glory. Well, you can see him, his face, his hair, and his crown. He's got a crown. That's the glory. So we're actually seeing these events unfold. And a lot of you guys, I think, are regulars here, but I'm just going to kind of explain a little bit here. I want to go back to the very beginning at this event right here, because this is what
Very disturbing news
God
out
showed
of
me.
Vernon Central High School.
What's going on?
All right, skip that out. There we go.
Welcome back, folks. First off, I'd like to
I'm
say
gonna
thank you to the
fast
fellow
forward.
YouTube.
There we go.
Here's our
Okay, so this is an event that happened on September 10th of 2017. Why is that significant? Because 13 days later, the Revelation 12 star alignment happened. It actually fulfilled another prophecy in the Bible, Revelation 12. And in that revelation, it says, the woman was draped in the sun with the moon at her feet and a crown, 12 stars, and she was pregnant. Well, if you watch the videos, you all know that was Jupiter in her belly. It took 9 months for it to release. It actually fulfilled a prophecy. And that prophecy, it said, a dragon appeared before her, or in front of her. Well, I think misinterpret the word in front of. Instead, it happened before her. So this event happened 2 weeks basically before her event. This is the dragon appearing before the woman. And this event was shown to me by God. This image was sitting on my computer. I did not pull it up. And when I looked at it, I could clearly see, it's like a black object. These cores are black, but you can see this wing stretching out on this side. Can't make it out too well, but there's another one. It's coming off and wrapping around and going back that way. And it looks like this winged planet, Nibiru. And this is my video wake-up call. If you watch it, if you haven't seen this or whatever. But what I'm trying to explain is this is a very significant event. This is another sign in the heavens that was promised.
Right here. This looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing coming off on that side. And that's not all, because behind that is this big object right here. This is what's causing our flares.
Okay, these two objects together. This is Nibiru. I would assume this would probably be like Nemesis, the Destroyer or something. It is much bigger than our sun. This white circle represents the size of our sun. You can see that this object is still back behind the sun. It isn't side by side. It's bigger than the sun. So when this thing interacts or interacts with our planet, it's going to cause mayhem. This is a sign in the heavens that God talked about. And then, after that, we had another event happen here. Maybe we'll go into that tonight, but I think for a lot of you guys have been on my channel for a while, I've been having Mary and angels showing up in my house. But let's see this. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. So these faces that I've been showing you in the last few videos that are in the etherical or in that mosaic that I was talking about are not only taking place there, but now they're taking place in our clouds. And with this new filter, I was able to go through some of these pictures, and it really makes them pop now. So if you can't see it yet, there's an eye here, an eye here, here's the nose, a mouth down below, here's an ear coming back up, the jaw running down, little pointed chin, right here, where you can make out. Okay, here's another one. One more, and this one right here, you can make out, we have an eye here, and an eye right here, here's the nose, and here's some lips, and it looks like he's blowing. You can make out his ear over here, horns and stuff coming up, his eyebrows. There we go. Now you can see a little bit better. An eye, the nose, the lips. Okay, so I wanted to show you that one with the filter, so you can see. Pieces in the clouds. This is not like a trick of man. This is the spiritual realm. The reason why these things look so odd is because this is the spiritual realm that you're looking at. It's manifesting. It's starting to appear in our skies. These spiritual objects, these spiritual events happening to the sun are now happening to the earth. And I think you can clearly see that we have evil running loose, running amok on this point. People, please do not fall into that trap of hate. All these people know not what they do. They need forgiveness and prayer. It's hard to do when you see some of these guys and what they're doing to us and how we're suffering for their lack of knowledge, their greed and stuff. They're going to pay here soon, and God's going to have vengeance on them, so don't you worry. Don't think about revenge or anything like that. Just know that God's got this. He's going to take care of this whole mess. He's given these guys rope to hang themselves with. So if you're out there and you're one of these spiritual warriors, like somebody I know who is out there, you need to look at it from a different perspective. And all of a sudden you'll see that these attacks only make you stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So these spiritual attacks that happen to you are blessings. Really, this whole life is a test. It's a test of character. It's a test of faith. And how are you going to react under pressure? You know, are you going to lose your marbles and cave in and act like a Karen? Or are you going to be able to rely on Jesus to maintain your composure and make it through all this madness? Okay? And that's what this is all about. This is all the spiritual test. And a lot of the stuff that you guys are worrying about is all a waste of time. It's all meant to consume your mind and worry you. The more you worry, the sicker you get. You actually manifest some of the sicknesses in you. It's Jesus that heals you. I showed you that he's in the clouds. I think you guys know that Satan's running around. Well, it shouldn't be so hard to believe that Jesus is here running around too. Okay? I showed you that he's in there in the clouds. I guarantee you he's down here. He's just watching everything, witnessing everything, taking notes on who's who and who believes and who doesn't. And I found it myself by through a lot of hardship in my life. I went through some traumatic stuff, and I found God at the bottom of a bottle, and after quitting drinking, I found God, and it's real. And the trick is your belief. How hard do you believe? That's why I bring you these images, because he wants you to more than believe. He wants you to know. He wants you to know as fact that he's real, that this is happening. So when you pray now, you will be a spiritual warrior. Your prayers will actually mean something because you believe, you know. There's a difference between believing and knowing. All these images I show you, you guys you didn't take the images yourself. Only I know for sure that I took all these images myself. They're undoctored. They're not photoshopped or faked or anything. These are real images, real entities, real spiritual attacks, and I'm able to document them and bring them to you guys. And I'm not trying to be a big Bible thumper or anything. I'm just trying to save some people out there a lot of headache and a lot of hurt, and just understand that all this stuff is supposed to happen. It's part of the script. Here's some evidence of the spiritual realm and that it's around and that it's happening. You know what? I'm going to go. That's a demon. I'm not about leaving that sitting there for too long. It's a very beautiful picture. It looks like God. One, I want to leave you guys with an explanation of what's been happening here. Oh, maybe that was it back down here, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna run this 7-minute video and then we'll wrap it up with that. And oh, you skipped your ads, you guys, with ads.
It's time
man.
for church.
We're running out of time, and these guys are still messing around making ads.
Here. I'm sitting here
All right,
praying.
Here, let me rewind this real quick, and we'll run this last video real quick. This one's important too because there's angels in here, you guys.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back. So I've been going through some of the old photos and running them through the filter, and this was one of the first ones that I had ever captured. And what's going on here
Thank you very much,
I'm
Kenley.
here
I
on my
love you,
knees.
darling.
I'm crying and screaming and praying, all three at once. I was in some extreme anguish. A paranormal traumatic event happened to me, something so unbelievable you guys wouldn't believe it. So if I told you, so I'm going to show you instead. So in this image here, I'm sitting here praying, and Mary's head appears right next to my head, and we're going to zoom in on this. You can't go in too tight on it, but she's looking down at my head this way. Let's see, there's pretty good. And you can make out her eye and her nose coming down, her shawl coming over, and it's in shadow right here. This is a shadow of the inside of her shawl going over her head like this. Here's her eye, her nose, her other eye would be on the other side there. Okay. You can't go in too tight on it. And then also is this white ball with an eye in it, this white orb with an eye in it. Okay, and that's not all, because over here in this corner up here is an angel. The silhouette of an angel with his wings spread, with his back to us, standing in a shaft of light. Here's his head. There's a glow over the head.
Bless everyone. I love you all. I miss you all. And until my next stream, bye.